For French novelist Marcel Proust, it was the Madeleine cookie dipped in tea that did it. This seemingly trivial incident opened the floodgates of memories going all the way back to his childhood and spanning the entirety of his life. He will document his reflections in the 7-volume classic novel À la recherche du temps perdu, or In Search of Lost Time. I'm not sure what it will take to activate that type of trip down memory lane, but even if something could, I'm pretty certain I won't get over 1 million words in a 7-volume book worth of ruminations, as the Madeleine seems to have done for Proust. What I typically get are snippets, short briefs, or partial recollections of events, experiences, or feelings, some from childhood and others from the recent past. The reason why I find the work to be exceptionally groundbreaking is because prior to reading Proust, it never occurred to me to pay attention to involuntary memory triggers. Though while I'm familiar with the concept of distant memories suddenly popping into the mind without any conscious prompting, I'm unfamiliar with the idea of identifying cues that ignite recollections I wasn't actively seeking. Revisiting Proust In Search of Lost Time, or Remembrance of Things Past, sort of changed that in a very meaningful way. Suddenly everyday stimuli, including smells, sounds, or tastes, which I used to take for granted, have now become potential gateways to long-forgotten episodic memory and opportunities to acknowledge and be more present in the now. A good example of this attentiveness to sensory perception happened recently after weather forecasters announced that Roanoke was going to get 3 straight days of rain. To me, that was good news, as I am a pluviophile. Something about the whole phenomenon, the occurrence, the sensation, the sight, sound, atmosphere, and smell of rain tends to calm, inspire, and comfort. It's a cleansing ritual, a gift from nature. My affinity for rain also has something to do with its capacity to trigger positive thoughts and nostalgic feelings. It was in this state of tranquility and heightened awareness that I came across a school bus with kids getting off and parents picking them up, some with umbrellas. This scene immediately led to a vivid remembrance of a particular day in the late 80s. It was of me arriving home from school, soaked and wet, as a consequence of getting off the bus and running in the rain. The reason I was rushing was because I wanted to make it in time to watch one of my favorite childhood cartoons, a French animated series called Clementine. It's about a 10-year-old disabled girl who possesses an active imagination that allows her to travel through fantasy and time, and in doing so, meets and interacts with both fictional and historical figures. But on that evening, there will be no Clementine, because a pop duo had just exploded onto the global music scene, and the TV station was using the Clementine time slot to do an expose on them and their 2 chart-topping hits, Girl You Know It's True and Blame It on the Rain. They call themselves Milli Vanilli. And within minutes of watching their charismatic stage presence, exotic looks, sense of style, and energetic dance routine, my disappointment at the fact that there will be no Clementine morphed into intrigue, interest, and then fascination. By the end of it, I was a fan. Months or so later, a major scandal will erupt, and it will be revealed that they'd been lip-syncing and were not the actual singers on the record. It didn't matter. I liked Milli Vanilli and couldn't care less about whether or not they'd sang the songs. Besides, I'd always understood show business to be synonymous with visual performance art. And these 2 guys, whoever they were great visual performance artists. I doubt very much that the songs, catchy and melodious as they are, would have had the global success it achieved had it not been for them. We, the consumers of show business, love our performers. Magicians, actors, comedians, and musicians, even though we know and understand that they're all just playing a role. And in the case of the music category, we still feel connected to them, even when it's clear that they're getting a lot of help from auto-tunes. The fact that Milli Vanilli were not the actual singers wasn't that big a deal, at least not to me. But most people didn't see it that way. They felt lied to, deceived, and their retaliation was fierce and swift. Fabrice Morvan and Rob Pilatus, the Milli Vanilli duo, were criticized, ostracized, mocked, and excoriated, leading to their downfall, which came just as suddenly and dramatically as their rise to fame. The backlash will culminate in the eventual death of Rob Pilatus years later. The Milli Vanilli story is an old story. In fact, it's over 30 years old. It's not been on my radar since the 90s when the scandal was being litigated and re-litigated in the court of public opinion. I wasn't trying to recall the tragic saga, and yet all it took to revive it was a drive on a rainy June day and an encounter with kids getting off the school bus. This sudden and unexpected evocation of a vivid, often emotionally charged memory triggered by a sensory experience like smell, taste, or visual stimulus is referred to as a Proustian moment. And based on my experience, I can attest to the fact that it offers an unique and powerful way to reconnect with the past and enhance self-awareness.
Blame it on the rain that was falling, that didn't shine that night. Whatever you do, don't put the blame on you. Blame it on the rain.